Hello, beautiful friends. I'm Meg, Mindset Health Coach at megburtontudman.com, and I am so excited to be here with the incredible Elizabeth Shores. Elizabeth is a dear friend of mine, and she is also the Executive Director of Untapped Shores International, which is an incredible not-for-profit organization that works with women and orphans in developing countries and also in disaster relief areas, enabling them with awesome technologies that help not only to markedly improve the quality of life in those communities, but also to create a sustainable income for them as well as their families. And in addition to that incredible work, Elizabeth is also a digital marketing strategist, turning clicks into customers, leveraging e-commerce and brand strategies to help brands grow. Her track record is awesome, growing brands that are just starting out to up to 7 figures within 1 year. So her track record, as I said, is amazing. I'm so happy to have her here today. And she is an inspiration to me, and I know will be an inspiration to you as well. So Elizabeth, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Meg, thanks for having me on. I just love your energy and the vibes you bring to the internet and everyone who gets to view your channel. I feel honored to be able to have this conversation with you. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Oh, I think we are too. I'm so excited. We've chatted a little bit offline, and every time we exchange an email or a quick text here and there, I'm like, yes, this is so great. So I'm excited to see where this goes today. Tell us a little bit more about your business and how you came to be there and what's been happening for you lately.
Sure, thank you. I'll give you the highlight reel of the last decade because a lot of changes happened, as I'm sure for a lot of viewers. Think back on the last decade, where you were and where you are now, and give yourself a little cheerlead moment for how far you've come. And and that's how I feel as I am here. That, by the way, if you're watching, this is a day before the end of Q2 2018. So in some ways, I view July 1st is my second start at a New Year's resolution. Okay, 6 months in, I can get a little reboot, and it's a great time to set intentions and understand what you want out of this year professionally and personally for the rest of it. So I'll start there, work my way back, and end at my New Year's resolution.
Perfect.
Sure. So 10 years ago, I had a career in corporate America, corporate communications, marketing. I ran a music tour for about 20 large musicians around the nation, parlayed that into joining a startup company called Sweetwater Energy, which is in the clean tech space. I know Meg is a friend to the company, knows it very well.
Yes.
And then concurrently, an interesting thing about Americans or Westerners specifically is that we see a desire to fulfill our passion and profit within one job. Okay. And my husband and I thought, what if we could love our day jobs, see it for what it is, a way to create value and money and income, and then pursue our passion outside of work with a side hustle. And I know many of the viewers have side hustles of their own, and Meg's brilliant at launching them and mentoring them. And so we did start our own. We always had a desire to start a nonprofit. We've always had a heart for bringing water to the world's most deserving populations, those at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because if you take care of those basic needs of food, water, and shelter, they can work their way up towards self-actualization, create a better life. And so on a trip to Kenya now 7 years ago, we deployed the first beta device of our new water purification technology, which we concocted like mad scientists in our kitchen. Our little New York apartment, we tested the technology, it worked. And what we developed was a handheld device that fits in the palm of a child or a woman's hand, that's for a reason, that can create clean water for up to 2,000 people per day, powered only by sunlight and salt water or ocean water, which is why the name Untapped Shores International, untapping the power of the ocean. It's also my last name, so that worked out great. Was born. And so for years, we loved our day jobs. My husband was in big pharma. I was in clean tech, had great companies, but the charity was growing and taking on a life of its own. And so shortly after our wedding, we took a sabbatical from corporate America. We took a year-long honeymoon/mission trip. We called it a mission moon, which took us on an amazing journey around the whole world, launching these new clean water projects, equipping vulnerable women and children entrepreneurs in developing nations with these units so that they can create a sustainable income selling the water while also saving lives in their own communities. That took us through 45 countries across all 7 continents. And when we returned a year later back home, where we thought we'd go back to corporate America, we cultivated skill sets along the way to fund our travels that blew up and we decided to keep pursuing. And so for me, that was digital marketing and specifically e-commerce. And I had several companies that I had founded and ran and grew that had great success. And it was such a joy to be able to run it from anywhere, like my laptop, you know, the laptop lifestyle. Meg lives it. A lot of the viewers do. And it's a dream. And so beyond that, so for the last 3 years, I've been not only growing my own e-commerce and online marketing ventures, but also those for clients who want to use the power of the internet to increase their digital reach, sales, acumen, and personal brand, just create a life that they love. And so today I'm currently wearing 2 hats, that of executive director of the charity and that of marketing strategist using digital and e-commerce to grow brands. So that's the big canvas, and long story short. Short story long is it's been a wild ride. And as we approach, the start of Q3 in a couple of days, it's a great time to reset. So just this morning before our chat, Meg, I was, writing down my intentions for the second half of the year and rebooting ones that had felt so fresh in January, and marveled at the fact that 6 months seems to have blown by. I don't know if you felt that too.
Same. Yes, it's crazy. Yeah, absolutely. I love that idea. First, congrats on all your success. It's so inspiring, and I love your story. How do you keep those intentions fresh? Because I think, to your point, the new year comes around January 1st, and we all have this like buzz of positive energy and best intentions, and we often write them down and we've got a plan in place. And then 6 months goes by, flies by often. And it's like, oh yeah, I did want to, do X, Y, and Z. So how do you keep it fresh? How do you keep that in the forefront of your mind and continue to honor those intentions?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say I began to notice a couple years ago that when I got into a state of routine, not to be confused with state of flow,
right?
A state of routine, time blitzed by, and there were no noticeable events or memories that I was cultivating. I'm thinking, oh my God, I have nothing to show for the month of October. What did I do there? And I couldn't remember. And if anyone watching this thinks about it, you go on vacation for 1 week and time slows down. You have 6 memorable moments that happen in 1 8-hour time frame in a day, right. And you're left, going home with a memory bank full of buoyant, joyous experiences that made it seem like that week was a lot longer because you packed a lot of living in. Right. And so when I begin to feel like time's flying, it's usually because I settle into a rote routine and don't live mindfully. And the best way to reignite a feeling of flow, not just rote routine, is to actually try and ignite more play into my day. Western cultures, we don't seem to value play. No. And it can be play. It can be a bubble bath. That can be your indulgence. It can be singing karaoke in your car, which, the vibrations help increase and reach your own vibration. Like, that's a good thing. And whatever it is, play, cross stitch, everyone has their own slice of the world that gives them joy, and it's play for the sake of play, something you do for the sake of it, not as a means to an end. So, right. Crunching, grinding yourself weary as a workout doesn't count. But yoga for the sake of yoga is great. And I know Meg and I are both yoga instructors, so we definitely adhere to that prescription. But
yes.
Getting in the state of play and infusing more of that helps to reignite and give your brain the better capacity for recommitting to your goals professionally, energizing you for those goals, and then also letting them carry you through, personal happiness, because life's too short, right? Being bogged down. Yeah. And I believe there's been a weight that as I've been on the Western world, but for anyone like you, Mike, who's traveled out to Central America and beyond, they're just living a little lighter. And I think that we could all take a cue from their playbook.
Yes. Oh, I absolutely agree. And I think you hit it right on as far as especially Western cultures not valuing play. And I think even more than not valuing it, not knowing how to like do it. And to your
Yes.
point, there's no right or wrong. It's what you enjoy. It's what you get joy and fulfillment and that spark from. And it can be anything. And it can be different than the person next to you. So what you do might be different than what I do. And that's okay. That's exactly how it should be. It's, what lights you up, what, really sparks you.
Exactly. Yeah. And you just reminded me that there is a great book that I read that anyone who's listening who wants a nice restart at any time during the year should consider the concept written about in a book called The Gift of the Year. You don't have to read it because you're going to get the clip notes right now. Basically, the concept is you find one tiny indulgence, one thing you do just for the sake of yourself, because humans in the Western world, and especially women, I think I can feel confident saying this,
Yes.
we do and do and do so much for others that we may neglect self-care for ourselves, which is really tough to prioritize, especially with the mixed messages we get from media and maybe familial contacts and whatnot. And we get stuck in our own invisible scripts of duty to honor. But the Gift of a Year says that you find one small thing to do for you, and you do it for yourself every single day for 365 days, and just see how much lighter you feel, and how your goals have seemed to transpire and come to fruition. And for one woman, it was a mother of 3 children who just gave herself a half hour to take a bath every day. That was the only thing she did different, and she made her a better parent, better mother, better everything. And it's just fun to let your mind wander and think, what could be my little indulgence? Is it a daily yoga class? That's a great one. Daily meditation practice. Whatever it is, it's kind of up to anyone's flavor. But I just love that concept, and anyone can try it.
I love that idea, and anybody can try it. And I love that it doesn't have to be hours and hours. I think we often think, especially of self-care, is that, oh, I need, half my day to go towards that. And it's amazing, 5-10 minutes. If you have a half hour, great. If you have more, great. But it doesn't have to be a huge time commitment. And I think, to your point, the return on that, and especially in that book, if you can do that, every day and subscribe to that opportunity, is such a huge advantage, and ripples to every other area of your life.
So true.
Yeah. So how do you prioritize self-care? Because you brought up a really good point. I think especially for women, that's really hard for us to stop doing for others and to put ourselves first, and to really, take care of ourselves first. So how do you make that a priority?
I can't say it comes easy. And I can't even say I'm a master of routine, and like every day I have my own little ritual that's just for me at the same time every day. And I wish I would, because I think that's actually incredibly important. But if I could offer some of a menu of items that I do that are cheap, easy, and portable, meaning you can do them anywhere. Because that all 3 of those, that's a 3-legged stool to make it something that you can fall into as a habit, something you can grab onto easily in the middle of a stressful work day at the office, or time at home. But one of my favorites, and I know you know about this, Meg, but it's called Abhyanga, which means self-massage in Sanskrit. It's from the Ayurvedic healing modality teachings, and it doesn't just feel good. So literally all you need to do to perform Abhyanga on yourself is either take a little bit of neutral massage oil like sesame oil or whatnot, or if you don't have any oil, you don't need any at all. But just simply start to stimulate the skin and just start to rub it. Do your hands, your fingertips, your thighs, your calves, your palms of your feet feels great, and even the back of your neck. This could take between 2 and 10 minutes tops. You all know that the skin is the largest organ on our body, yet it's the one we neglect to care for the most. We all hear about heart health. Gut health is now the new sexy trend. We don't talk enough about the skin. And of course, as you're performing Abhyanga on yourself, you're stimulating the lymphatic system, you're flushing out the toxins. So even if you don't have time to eat right or work out or meditate that day, you still are doing some amazing sense of self-care. Not to mention it stimulates collagen production. So it's like, Botox in a bottle, all natural every day for 10 years. So That's one of my favorites. I don't know. What do you do, Meg?
I love that one. I'm big, and I know you are too, on deep breathing. Dr. Andrew Weil's 4-7-8 breath, where you breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, breathe out for a count of 8. That is a favorite of mine. And this has come up in a couple of different interviews, the power of the breath to just reset. And I've said this before, and I'll probably say it forever. I am still amazed at that power to reset and to kind of just dial you back and get you centered again. And to your point about cheap, portable, easy, that fulfills all of that criteria as well. So I'm big on breath work. And even just a deep breath at a stoplight can be so powerful, or a deep breath before you pick up the phone can really help, I think, to reset and to help you take care of yourself.
Exactly. I actually learned that concept from you years ago, and I still use it to this day to help me fall asleep.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's a good one for
helps
sleep.
me fall asleep. I think I don't even get through 5 rounds of it, and I think it knocks me out. It's really effective. If anyone missed that, replay, rewind 30 seconds and hear Meg's tip about breathing.
Yeah.
So clutch. I've also been flirting with kind of the new age technique for feeling your best and living your best life. And I've been playing around with lucid dreaming.
Ooh, talk to us more about that.
Sure. Yeah. And so so everyone knows about hypnosis. You are not asleep when you're hypnotized. In fact, the hypnotist keeps you in your theta brain wave state where you're suggestible, but you are not asleep and be able to be manipulated.
Right.
You enter theta brainwave state just before you fall asleep. So it's right in that happy, sleepy zone, right? It feels sleepy, but it's not asleep. You also re-enter theta brainwave state just before you fully wake up in the morning. Right. And so there is all these great studies that are helping you to learn how to utilize that theta brainwave state for your own benefit. And you can do it yourself without a hypnotist at your bedside stand. And so every morning, you all know the feeling where you're just like slowly waking up, your alarm's going to go off in about 10 minutes and you're just enjoying those last few tendrils of sleep, let them wash over you. When you do that, envision what you would like to manifest. And we all know manifesting isn't thinking, I would like to make $100 million. It's all about, I feel abundant and I feel healthy and I am living my best life. I feel loved. All the present positive statements. Yes. That is the best time of day to say those statements to yourself because it becomes ingrained in your psyche. And this will blow your mind. I'm forgetting the scientist that did it, but he did an experiment where he had one control group perform 30 minutes of exercise 4 times a week, just in the arms. Mm-hmm. So it was just an arm exercise. So they did it with weights. They watched a video. The second group kept themselves immobile. They watched the same exact video. They imagined themselves doing it. They imagined what it would feel like, the strain of the bicep as you lift the weight, the sweat that forms around the weight handle as you grip it. Very detailed visualization for the same amount of time. And there was absolutely no reason that they should have gained an ounce of muscle mass through that, but yet they measurably did. And this experiment has been repeated hundreds of times around the world. But if you're like me and it's really alluring that you can gain muscle mass and tone up by just watching a workout video or maybe a recording of Meg's yoga class, get on my level because this is something I'm just starting to learn about but really want to keep pursuing. Think about easy ways to access self-care. There's a great one, lucid dreaming, or even the power of visualization.
Yeah, I love that. And what a powerful way to start your day. When you think about, all right, this is part of my morning routine now, before I'm even out of bed, and really before I'm fully awake, I've already set myself up for manifesting something really awesome to happen that day. I've put myself in that calm and peaceful and positive mindset. That's so empowering and powerful at the same time. I love that. I've heard of those studies. Yeah. I'll have to give that a whirl and see.
It is. Yeah, that's a good Q3 2018.
Yes, adventure. Absolutely. I love that. Elizabeth, I'm curious to talk to you a little bit about confidence in your own skin. It's one of the themes for this channel and this interview series. And my sense when I think about your story and when I think about the huge leap that you took from corporate to running your own business to traveling all over the world, I know you haven't talked about it here, but I follow you closely on social media and you talk a lot about this reverse retirement. And I'd love to know what gave you the confidence to make that leap and to really, go against some of the norms that are pretty ingrained from a Western standpoint, certainly not worldwide, but definitely from a Western perspective.
Oh, Mike, thank you for bringing that up, because that's a tough topic to tackle, and it was tough for myself and my husband.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone watching has had this moment, this crucible moment in their life where they could deviate one way or the other, and you get a lot of scrutiny, judgment, confusion. And, birds flock together, birds of a feather flock together. And when you decide to depart from the flock, maybe your family members or some friends, you start to lose some commonality. There's confusion as to why you just don't go the way things are. In the Western culture, we have a very structured thought of how a life should be positioned and lived. And so, for us to leave jobs we loved, that we felt paid very fairly, we had a wonderful life in New York, to leave it and go live in shacks or mud towns or shanty towns and all sorts of crazy places all over was really confusing, and also scary for some who've heard about. You see a lot on the news, a lot of fear mongering of the world. It just simply isn't true. I'll just be that bold to say it. Yeah. It's really not true. But and for the record, I'll even be more bold to say that America is not a laughingstock around the world. We are still revered. And I'll get into this point more with the reverse retirement. I believe that there are vehicles to create a life which you can live like you're retired. We spend 30 years in a career just so that we can travel, we can give back to the charities that we like, and we can spend our time as we freely choose. But we've been seeing so many data points of people retiring and they don't have their health, or they didn't have enough savings to do all those dreams that they had put off 30 years. Right. And so we had thought, why not live for a little bit as if we are retired? We're still working the whole time, but in a laptop lifestyle that's on our terms. We're giving back to charity. We're able to travel, and we're able to, spend our days as we freely chose. So I had a hypothesis that no matter what socioeconomic realm you come from, everyone has this same core dream, that we want to have this freedom to live our lives the way we imagined. And so I made a point, the entire 45 countries that we traveled, we asked everyone from like the cab driver in rural Africa, Zambia, to Vietnam, beaches, everywhere, the same three questions, which was, if you could give back to any cause, what's your favorite cause? Is it animals? Is it water? What is it? If you could spend your days doing anything you want, like what's your dream? And then the last is, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you travel? I kid you not, Meg, everyone, I can't think of one person who did not say, across 45 countries, all the continents, America, USA. Wow. And they all said, and this, we were traveling during the midst of the crazy election and, a lot of animosity on both sides, but they still believe that because we have the American dream. Women can have a voice. We can choose our own career. We can choose our own path of fulfillment. And the pursuit of happiness is actually a founding part of our country. And that dream is, and it made me very proud to be an American. Once you erase all the media, it's a great lens to have, and to know that we can architect our lives and our paths in a way that makes sense. And so reverse retirement is more, does not have to be as drastic as quitting your job and moving to the other side of the world. Mm-hmm. It's more a frame and state of mind to not postpone 30 years, the dreams or the legacy that you want to live. And so we talk, my husband and I, about our living legacy all the time. That if we died tomorrow, have we created a life right now that we're proud of, that we feel like we are fulfilled, that we're giving back and connecting with family, friends, our personal charitable causes that we like, and are we doing meaningful work? And again, I know I brought this up earlier, but if you can allow your mind to dissociate the need to have your passion and your paycheck be wrapped up in one, it doesn't have to be that way. Maybe sometimes your day job just exists to pay the bills, and that is okay. There's literally nothing wrong with that. That's what side hustles are for, which follow Meg's channel. You're going to learn how to build one and a life that you absolutely love, full of abundance and creativity and personal health and wellness. That path is available for you. And ever since we made that decision, it's caused some uncomfortable shifts, I'll say, in close relationships, both personally and professionally. But the best part is we are so happy. Every day we look at each other and say, I love our life. Like, we love our lives. And I don't remember saying that 8 years ago to myself. And so, it's very empowering to feel like you have control in architecting the way you spend your life. And if I could make just one last point, I had a wild decade, which included calling off a wedding in a very dramatic, painful way that I had to do a long time ago. And in the midst of my, grief and sadness, I thought, well, this isn't me. I'm a happy person. What can I do to just pull myself out of it? And I found this psychological principle concept. It's called self-determination theory, SDT, and it has completely changed my life. And maybe it'll touch one person who's listening here today, who's going through any sort of personal strife, stress, or trauma. And it is this. Scientists have actually cracked and found the veritable secret to happiness. Okay, like, this has been proven and found, and it lies within SDT. And what SDT says is that if you incorporate the following 3 dynamics into your life, you will be happy. And Meg probably already knows the 3, but I'll recap them right now. The first is autonomy, which means the feeling that the way you spend your days are freely chosen. And so a worker who's assembling widgets on an assembly line may not be able to feel autonomy as much as someone who is launched their own business and gets to carve out that type of entity. And so as long as you have a little bit of time each day that you're doing something for yourself, back to that, an hour a day for a year,
right,
then you might have that. The next one is relatedness, or the feeling that the interactions you have with people are genuine and deep. And so your brain knows the difference between when you walk into a networking event and hand out your business card 50 times. It doesn't light up as much as it does is when you spend time with a childhood best friend and have deep belly laughs and reminisce, or time with family. So connecting with family and friends actually is very important biologically. And the last one is competence, not confidence, competence, or the feeling that you're always stretching yourself, learning new things, like absorbing new concepts into your mind. So it can be as simple as you try a new pose in yoga that you've always been scared to attempt. Like, that builds great competence. Maybe you nail your crow pose for the first time ever. Or you watch a YouTube channel or a podcast that just lights your brain up and blows your mind wide open. Those are all great dynamics. And it seems so simple, but the absence of even just one can help, can bring you down. So it's no wonder that during breakups, if anyone's going through one, you feel so sad because you don't have that relatedness core that you used to have. Or it's no wonder if your job is leaving you feeling beleaguered, that you feel so frustrated. It's because you don't have the autonomy and you aren't giving yourself just a slice of time in your day to spend on yourself. And so self-determination theory is a great expression and manifestation of living your best life, and ones that you can all poke into in the coming weeks and months.
I love that. And you explained it perfectly, so clearly. I think that power of living authentically, of connecting with others, and of, really always continuing to learn and grow, and to be okay with the fact that it's never finished. Like, there's not an end. Oh, I'm perfect now. Okay, I can retire, or I can do all those things that I put off for so long. I think, to your excellent point, when we start to incorporate those things into everyday life, and it may not be, again, to your point, every minute of every day, but if we can make that conscious choice to incorporate them wherever we can, they feed on themselves. And that, you know, has tremendous impact on how we feel. I think it has tremendous impact on our confidence, but really just in how we, you know, how we face what is happening for us. And with so much more, I think, strength and grace than if we're not able to honor those three pieces. I love that. That's a great theory. And again, it's so powerful. You too.
Beautiful. Oh, that was good.
Oh,
yeah,
thank
that
you.
hit me right here.
Good.
Oh, for sure.
I knew this would be a good conversation.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, talk to us a little bit more, if you would, about the women and children that you are working with. And because my sense is, you know, for people who haven't traveled or who haven't traveled recently, there's a lot happening outside of kind of our own bubble that can have a big impact on not only how we see the world and how we, you know, choose to respond, but also in how we create our own realities. So I'm curious if you can draw any connections between what you've learned and the lessons you've taken from the people that you've met through your work and through your travels as well.
That's so true. And it's so timely given the state of everything right now. And I can say that we've spent most of our time with deployment in Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa. Mostly we're in the southeast region of Africa. And so this is consistent every single time we go live over there or travel over there. It's no secret that, you know, economically there's a lot of poverty, and some of it is truly heartbreaking to witness.
Right.
But when you go a level deeper and you have deep conversations with the locals and the villagers and ask them, how is their life? It is amazing to hear their responses and see the tiniest blessings in their day are just reflected as the best thing ever. And for me, whenever I need a personal reset, I always tell my husband, oh, I just want to go back to Africa. Because for me, it's a great reset of reminding, like, my life in comparison is just not hard. And this stress, this that I'm agonizing over, is so minuscule compared to what they go through every day, wondering if they'll be attacked on their walk to water, their long walk to water every day, knowing that the girls can't go to school because they are the water gatherers. So while their boy counterparts get to be schooled, they don't get to, and they're vulnerable to sexual abuse on their walk. And but the best part is that there are, for all the bad stories that may appear in the media, that's just meant to sell papers, there are good hearts. And just because they are poor does not mean they are lazy. We have an interesting time, although we technically are a charity. You'll hear us call ourselves a social enterprise all the time because, as we say, this is not a handout, this is a hand up. And these women, so a lot of them are widowed by AIDS, or they're single mothers as a result of like an attack or whatnot. And they're amazing people. And although they were never afforded the chance to attend basic schooling, they so have the energy and a desire to work themselves out of poverty into a better situation. And so they are more ingenious and a harder worker than many people that I've even met in my daily, you know, meandering through corporate America. And I would hire any of them as interns. And it's purely because, you know, in the Western world, we're surrounded by choice and opportunity, and it's almost overwhelming. And so for them, when they're offered one chance, they take it and they run with it and they make the best out of it. And so we've had young women who are single mothers start huge enterprises, water enterprises, just starting with our one little unit that have impacted 20,000 people per day.
Amazing.
Per day. And their impact spans not only water for their community, but also the maternal delivery ward. So helping ensure that babies survive the birth and the mothers survive to live alongside them. All sorts of great stories. The older orphans know that although there's never been anyone to look out for them, they sure want to create a better life for themselves. And, you know, they're plucky. Plucky is a great word to describe it. Think about that word. When you are plucky, you are resilient. And if I can think of a theme, if I had to think of one word for 2018, it's my word, it's going to be resilience. Okay? Bouncing back. You can borrow that word too. Anyone who's listening, that resonates. I just love it. Resilience for myself. Resilience to be there for any friends or family members that are going through a tough time. Resilience is the ultimate mark of a warrior. And women more than anyone, really deserve a healthy dose of it. And as you say, Meg, it's born by self-care and self-love. And so to see these women have the opportunity to create better their lives by proxy bettering others, everyone knows that's why charity feels so good, because you're getting just as much, if not more, as the receiver is receiving. Now they have a chance to help and give back. And so I believe that when you think about managing the stress, resetting of their daily lives, it's great to know that, we see women feeding their babies dirty water, infested, and just hoping that it works, because what's their alternative?
Right.
In America, we don't have to worry about that, but we do have other toxins to think about. We have toxins of our own. We have so much stress laden in just our daily lives that I know is a toxic buildup. The fight or flight response of our adrenal system, that was created thousands of years ago when we were like cave women and cavemen.
Right.
For real reasons. We really needed that to be able to run away from the bear, that was going to literally eat us. So over thousands of years, we've evolved in this comfy nerf lifestyle, right? Where we don't have daily assaults on our actual life or death. However, our adrenal system doesn't know the difference that when a boss comes in and, has a quick quip that just gets you right there. It raises your heart rate, adrenaline and cortisol surges through your body. And even though there's no perceived threat, your body doesn't know. And it's then awashed with cortisol, the stress hormone. And so there's toxins of our own that need to be mitigated. It's not dirty water of Africa. Right. It's cortisol situation. I don't know if, Meg, you've studied this or know a great way to detoxify that besides pranayama, besides breath work, but I'd love to tuck into that.
The breath work is huge. The self-care piece is huge. I think the biggest difference between, you think back to like cave women times and now is that once the bear or lion or whatever it was left, your body reset. And the challenge now is that our bodies aren't able to reset because it's this constant, while it may not be a threat to your life, to your point, our body doesn't know that. So we're never able to release all of those hormones and get back to what should be our balanced normal. So instead, our base state is this heightened stress, this heightened, anxiety and activity within the body. So we don't have an opportunity to reset. So to your point, yes, breath work I think is huge. I think being mindful of it is another big piece. And I love the connection to mindset with the women that you've met through your work and the connection I think that we can make here from a stress standpoint. So their mindset allows them to take that opportunity that's given to them and run with it and let it just blow up in the best way possible for them. And I think to your point about, we are blessed with so many opportunities in the Western world that I think we tend to lose sight, and maybe it's easier for us to focus on the stress, to focus on the negative piece. And if there's a way that we can rewire, it is the mindset. It's the belief system that we, habitually draw on that sometimes I think we're not even aware of. If we can tune back into what's my perspective about this? How am I going to choose to look at this opportunity or this lesson or this occurrence? Because we can look at it as a stress, or we can look at it as, okay, I'm going to, feel what I'm feeling. I'm going to process what I'm feeling. And then I'm going to continue to move forward and do something good for myself, whether it's in the morning, setting up what I want to manifest for that day, whether it's checking in with myself and breathing deeply throughout the day, all of those seemingly little things, because I think often we think for transformation to happen, we have to pull the rug out from under us and make these huge changes. And to your point, yes, we can do that, but it also doesn't have to be huge. It's those little things that we're doing over and over again. It's the intentions that we set throughout the year and that we remind ourselves of, each quarter, each month, to say, wait a minute, how can I reset? How can I get back into balance? I love that lesson. I think that's incredible. Yeah.
So true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are you doing for stress management? I know you've talked a little bit throughout our chat today, but what else are you doing?
For me, it's so easy to fall in love with my time on the yoga mat.
Yeah.
And, weirdly enough, I've had the same mat ever since I started practicing that, Old Faithful. We all have Old Faithful. And sometimes I get it out more frequently than not and almost like remember, it's like a favorite blankie. It's absorbed so many emotions. It's absorbed my toughest of times. It's been there for me for my most buoyant of times. And of course, yoga started out as what I thought would be a fun athletic venture. And of course, through teacher training and myself, teaching it now, a vehicle for total transformation and serenity, peace. Another word that I think we don't value enough, but to find peace in life and in our income generation pursuits and personal life, there was a great way to find peace and connect with your center, because I don't let my inner voice talk to myself until I can still my mind. And of course, as you know, the whole point of the asanas, the yoga movements, is just so that we can still our minds enough 60 minutes later during shavasana, the brief meditation, to allow the real healing to begin.
Right.
That's the absolute best part of it. And so that's my favorite modality of reset. But I have been enjoying a more mindful sleeping experience. So I really am liking the lucid dreaming, especially in the mornings, like having a more peaceful wake up. And I've also tried out those new alarms that do a more gentle 5-minute pre-wake up. That's really helped, instead of the blaring, jump and jostle out of your REM state, immediately hop out of bed.
Right.
There's all sorts of ways to do it. And for me, the biggest way I play with self-care is, and this is my biggest theme I teach in all my yoga classes, is the concept of epigenetics. And most of you know what that is, but for those of you who don't, it's epi is Greek for to put upon, and genetics, of course, is how our DNA influences our health and wellness. And so epigenetics is the study of how the experiences we give our life and the environmental factors around us influence our health and wellness. And there's 3 simple ways to, like a thermostat, turn up the good genes and turn down the bad genes, knowing that you are no longer just stuck with the bad genes or good genes that you're born with. You can actually influence them. And so the cheat sheet is yoga, body movement, simple exercises, breathing through meditation, and throw in some leafy greens, just a little bit of more plants in your diet. Those 3 things can have an amazing effect on your epigenome, your entire mind-body connection, and help your body manifest its most perfect health state. It's like my favorite concept to talk about, because of course through yoga you get to do a lot of things that almost hack your body into its happiest, most perfect state.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've done too.
I love that. That's perfect. That is so empowering. And again, I think, and this keeps coming up, that 3-legged stool, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to take a long time. These simple little things that we do over and over again are so empowering. There's such a reset. And you talk about, de-stressing your mind, your body, your spirit, all of those little things that Elizabeth has mentioned, throughout our wonderful conversation today make such a huge difference. And, I think, those of us watching, we're in a place where we can take advantage of those, where this is at our disposal to really grab hold and in the best way possible, make these a big part of our daily routine.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Yes, it's so important. And you can start literally today. You can start while you sit here watching your YouTube on the phone or at your computer.
Right.
So I love it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Get that massage going as you watch the end of this.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, what's on the horizon for you? What's coming up next?
Oh, sure. So much, as we approach Q3. But the most exciting one is something that we have found out is happening in Africa, and it started without our knowledge, and now that we're supporting it, it's become huge. This is absolutely wild. And there is a way, for anyone who wants to, if you feel called to support the pursuit of women starting water businesses in Africa, Asia, and South America, then this is for you. We found out that some of the Ugandans that we work with have uncovered the secret to retaining education, because of course in the pursuit of public health, education, knowing that washing your hands prevents the spread of disease, all these sanitation and clean water projects help increase public health. And so they understand that what's the hierarchy of learning retention? You can read it, write it, you learn a little better. You hear it spoken to, you absorb it a little more. You can speak it out loud, you absorb a little more. You can teach it, you absorb even more. But the number one way to absorb a concept is to sing it. That's why we get all of these car jingle commercials, or the phone numbers for the lawyers are actually stuck in our heads, because it's the highest level of learning retention. They understood this implicitly, and they started empowering troops of school children, kids teaching kids. These school children are creating songs that teach other children how to create their most healthy lifestyle, to drink clean water, to wash your hands before you eat, after you go to the bathroom. Simple levers for having a quantum effect on their community's health. And they travel around the country and they perform for other schools. And these are catchy songs. I can send you a video link if you want to hear them.
We'll
and so we
include that.
now started, yeah. And then they started adding in drama. So they're doing performing arts, showing, how sick you get if you drink the bad water. But here comes the Untapped Shores unit. And you can now start a business, and you can, drink clean water and feel better. And now you feel good, so you can go to school. If you go to school, you get a job. Kumbaya ensues. It's been so incredible. And this is all ignited on their own. We're just now supporting them in a big way. So in second half of 2018, we were able to reach 100,000 people last year. Through this, we'd like to double or triple that over the next 6 months through fundraising, through our Facebook page, which is just Untapped Shores International on Facebook. We can make a simple donation. Even $5 provides the materials for one child to start to begin to bottle up and sell his own water and be able to feed himself for a week. But not just feed himself for that week. It's he's learning the business principles of sales, so that he can become a productive member of society and increase GDP and all the great effects that come from that with his self-worth. So that is the most exciting thing we have on the horizon, supporting these troops of performing children that travel the countrysides of Africa, teaching other villagers how to be more healthy. It's just amazing.
It is amazing. I love that. I'm so inspired by the work that you and your husband are doing. My heart is so full. I can't even get the words out. That's great. And I love that idea that kids are traveling across the country, teaching other kids, and through song. Because to your point earlier in the conversation, that's so good for you too, to sing. So
yes.
Not only is that such a teachable vehicle, but also that is making them feel so great as well, and teaching them, I think, a lifelong skill that is really, really helpful. So congratulations. That's phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How else can friends find you? And we'll include all of these links in the description. You mentioned Facebook, Untapped Shores International. How else can we find you?
Sure. You'll find us hanging out either on Twitter or Instagram is our new favorite modality. I mean, between that and YouTube, that's become a media powerhouse for allowing your messaging to reach the world. And so all of our channels are labeled Untapped Shores, and that's where you'll find me. And I'd love to hear from any of you who are going down your quantum wellness journey alongside with Meg, because it's just the most noble and important pursuit you can ever do. Literally, your life depends on it. And I believe that.
Perfect. Thank you. That was such a good way to wrap up. Elizabeth, I'm so grateful for all of your insight. It was so powerful. And I hope that friends take even just a little piece of this and use it to make a big difference in your individual life, because it is so empowering and so possible for all of us to make little shifts throughout the day that make a huge difference. So if you enjoyed this conversation as much as Elizabeth and I did, we would be so grateful if you gave us a thumbs up. And I would be so grateful if you subscribe to the channel. I'll keep having amazing women like Elizabeth on to share their stories and to help inspire you, as well as some meditation videos and some tips to reset your mindset. And we'd love to have you as part of this community. So again, Elizabeth, so grateful, from my heart to yours. So much love and light. Thank you for being here.
Oh, love and light back at you. Thank you, Meg. This was a blast.
Thank you.
Catch you soon.